Hello there, and welcome to today's story. In today's video, we'll explore an alternate timeline where Anakin Skywalker attacks Mace Windu during the revenge of the Sith after being denied the rank of Master. I hope you enjoy. Now let's dive in. Night wrapped Coruscant in cold starlight. High above the city's endless traffic lanes, Padme Amidala's apartment was quiet. There, Anakin Skywalker dreamed. He stood in a white, empty chamber. Padme lay before him, crying out in pain, her hands clutching her swollen belly. Medical droids moved frantically, alarms shrieking. Anakin reached for her, but the Force resisted him, heavy and suffocating. Padme's eyes met his, filled with fear. Then they went still. Anakin jolted awake with a gasp, his breath ragged, his body soaked in sweat. His heart pounded violently as the vision lingered, refusing to fade. "No, not again," he whispered. He rose from the bed and stumbled into the main room, running a hand through his hair as panic set in. The Force churned around him, wild and unstable. The memory struck him like a blade. Tatooine, his mother, the same visions, the same helplessness. "I felt this before," he muttered, "right before she died." He began pacing, his thoughts spiraling. The idea of losing Padme, of watching her die while he stood powerless, was unbearable. Fear tightened around his chest, slowly igniting into something darker. Soft footsteps approached behind him. "Anakin?" Padme's voice was gentle, worried. She stood in the doorway, wrapped in a robe, her brow furrowed as she took in his shaken state. He turned to her, eyes filled with terror, and told her everything, the vision, the certainty, the echo of his mother's death. Padme stepped forward, taking his hands. "Anakin, look at me," she said softly. "I'm not going to die. Nothing is going to happen to me." But Anakin pulled away. "That's what I thought about my mother," he said, his voice trembling. "And I was wrong." Padme tried to reassure him again, speaking of hope, of choice, of the future not being fixed. But Anakin barely heard her. His mind was already racing, searching for answers, for power, for any way to prevent the vision from becoming real. "I won't take that risk," he said quietly. "I won't lose you." Padme watched him with growing concern. The man she loved was still there, but something else was awakening beneath the surface, something driven by fear, and fear, once planted, does not remain still. As Coruscant's artificial sunrise began to glow beyond the windows, Anakin Skywalker stood at the edge of a path that would soon change the fate of the galaxy. Morning light filtered through the tall windows of the Jedi Temple, casting long beams across the polished stone floors. To most, the temple was a place of peace. To Anakin Skywalker, it felt like a cage. He stood in Yoda's chambers, hands folded behind his back, forcing his voice to remain steady as he spoke of his visions. He did not mention Padme by name, only that someone close to him was suffering, dying. Yoda listened, eyes half-lidded, his expression unreadable. "Visions they are," Yoda finally said. "The future, always in motion." "But these visions came true before," Anakin replied, the edge in his voice barely contained. "I dreamed of my mother suffering. I ignored it, and she died." Yoda's ears drooped slightly, but his tone remained calm, distant. "Fear of loss is a path to the dark side," he said. "Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose." The words struck Anakin like a cold wind. Let go. There it was again. No solution. No way to save her. Only acceptance. Only surrender. Anakin lowered his head, hiding the frustration burning in his eyes. "Thank you, Master Yoda," he said, though the words felt hollow. As he turned and left the chamber, a bitter truth settled in his mind. The Jedi don't understand, and they never will. Not long after, Anakin found Obi-Wan in the temple halls. Obi-Wan briefed him on the war. Separatist worlds falling, victory finally within reach. Yet Anakin noticed the tension in his former master's posture, the distraction in his eyes. "There's something else," Anakin said. Obi-Wan hesitated. "The Chancellor has requested your presence," he admitted. "He wants you to meet him in his office." Anakin frowned. "About what?" "I don't know," Obi-Wan said carefully. "But Anakin, be cautious. Palpatine's influence over you concerns the Council, and frankly, it concerned me too." Anakin bristled, but Obi-Wan pressed on. "Something about all of this feels wrong. I don't trust it." Anakin nodded, though his thoughts were already elsewhere. The Jedi had offered him nothing. No answers, no hope. As he left the temple and made his way toward the Chancellor's office, one thought echoed through his mind. The Jedi won't help me. I'm on my own. And somewhere deep within the Senate building, Darth Sidious felt his future apprentice drawing closer. The Chancellor's office was warm, welcoming, carefully so. Palpatine greeted Anakin with a proud smile, speaking of duty, of trust, of the Republic's need for a hero. Then he delivered the words Anakin had long waited to hear. "I am appointing you as my personal representative on the Jedi Council." Anakin's heart surged. At last, recognition. Mastery was surely next. With that title would come access to the restricted archives, knowledge that could save Padme. Relief followed him all the way back to the temple. But in the council chamber, that relief turned to ice. The masters argued quietly at first, then more openly. Palpatine had no right to choose who sat among them. Anakin stood in the center of the room, tension building with every passing second. Finally, Mace Windu spoke. "You are on this council, Skywalker." Anakin exhaled, the weight lifting from his chest. "But," Windu continued, his voice firm, unyielding, "you will not be granted the rank of master." The words cut deep. Anakin froze. His thoughts raced. His mother, her screams, the visions of Padme, the fear of losing her too. His last hope slipped through his fingers in an instant. "How can you do this?" Anakin said, anger bleeding into his voice. "It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?" Windu's expression hardened. "Take a seat, young Skywalker." Something inside Anakin snapped. Years of isolation flooded back. Being treated as an outsider from the moment he entered the temple. The countless battles he had won. The brothers he had lost in the war, only to return home and be dismissed like a reckless child. Before he fully realized what he was doing, the words escaped him. "Perhaps I'll take your seat." The chamber went silent. In a blur of motion, Anakin leapt forward, igniting his blue lightsaber mid-air. Windu barely had time to draw his own blade before the two clashed, the crack of lightsabers echoing through the chamber. "Anakin, stop!" Obi-Wan shouted, but Anakin didn't hear him. Blow after blow, Anakin drove Windu back, fury guiding his strikes. Windu staggered until a powerful force push from Yoda and Obi-Wan hurled Anakin into the far wall. He rose slowly, breathing hard. Every council member now stood with lightsabers ignited. Everyone except Obi-Wan, who watched him in stunned disbelief. "Surrender, Skywalker," Yoda commanded. Anakin's gaze flicked to Obi-Wan. The disappointment in his former master's eyes burned worse than anger ever could. With a sharp motion, Anakin deactivated his saber. Without another word, he turned and stormed out of the council chamber, leaving behind stunned silence and a Jedi order that had just lost the chosen one. The path back was closed, and Anakin Skywalker knew exactly where he would go next. Anakin Skywalker did not hesitate as he left the Jedi Temple. He went to the one place where he had always felt valued, where his strength was praised instead of feared. The Chancellor's office welcomed him with warm light and familiar shadows. Palpatine sat at his desk, but he felt Anakin long before the doors opened. The rage, the despair, the fracture in the Force. A slow smile crept across his face. "My boy," Palpatine said kindly as Anakin entered, his voice filled with concern. "You look troubled." Anakin paced the room, his emotions spilling out. He told Palpatine everything: the Council's decision, Windu's words, the humiliation, and the moment when his anger had taken control and he had attacked Mace Windu. Palpatine's expression shifted to shock, carefully measured. "They pushed you to this," Palpatine said softly. "They always have. The Jedi fear what they cannot control, and they cannot control you." Anakin stopped and began listening. "You have given everything to them," Palpatine continued. "Your loyalty, your life, your compassion. And when you ask for help, when you ask for the respect that you deserve, that you are owed, they deny you." Palpatine stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "There are abilities some consider unnatural, powers beyond the narrow dogmatic view of the Jedi." Anakin's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Palpatine straightened, no longer hiding the truth. "I know these powers, and together we can unlock the secrets of life and death themselves." For a long moment, Anakin struggled, but the image of Padme dying burned too brightly. "I pledge myself to you," Anakin said, dropping to one knee. "Teach me." Palpatine smiled in open triumph. "Good, very good, my apprentice." Before he could speak further, the office doors slid open. Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi entered, lightsabers at their sides but not yet ignited. "Anakin," Obi-Wan said urgently, his eyes flicking to Palpatine. "This doesn't have to end like this. Come with us." Palpatine raised a calming hand, slipping easily into the role of the concerned Chancellor. "Masters Yoda, Kenobi," he said pleasantly, "I assure you there has been a misunderstanding. Young Skywalker is distressed. Surely we can resolve this without violence or humiliation." Yoda's gaze narrowed, the Force rippling uneasily around him. "Clouded, the Force is here," he murmured. "A shadow, I sense." Palpatine chuckled softly. "I imagine the strain of war has made us all a bit sensitive, hasn't it? I called Anakin here to speak privately, nothing more." Obi-Wan stepped forward. "Chancellor, Anakin attacked Master Windu. We must take him into custody." Palpatine sighed, feigning disappointment. Such harsh words. You would arrest the Republic's greatest hero based on emotion. As Palpatine slowly walked toward them, his tone remained calm, almost gentle. "The Jedi have grown arrogant," he said. "Quick to judge, quick to condemn. Perhaps that is why the people have begun to lose faith in you." Yoda's eyes widened slightly. "Too much you speak," Yoda said. "Dangerous this is." Palpatine stopped beside Obi-Wan. "Dangerous," Palpatine repeated softly. "No, Master Yoda. Necessary." In a flash of crimson light, Palpatine's lightsaber snapped to life and drove straight through Obi-Wan's chest. Obi-Wan gasped, eyes wide with shock. He looked down at the blade, then up at Anakin. "Anakin," he whispered. He collapsed lifelessly to the floor. "No!" Anakin cried out, rushing to his fallen master, but it was too late. Yoda ignited his lightsaber in fury and leapt at Palpatine, their blades colliding in a violent storm of light and shadow. The room trembled as dark power surged. Anakin knelt briefly beside Obi-Wan's body, memories crashing over him, training, laughter, battles fought side by side. Then Palpatine's voice cut through the chaos. "Help me, Anakin. Destroy him, and your destiny will be complete." Anakin rose. The last thread tying him to the Jedi snapped. He ignited his blade and charged into the duel, sealing his fall to the dark side as Yoda faced both the Sith Lord and the Chosen One. Anakin's blade met Yoda's with a thunderous crash. The Grand Master fought with all the strength the Force would grant him, green light flashing as he tried desperately to hold back both Sith. But this was no longer a duel. It was an execution delayed only by Yoda's will. "Anakin," Yoda pleaded between blows. "Lost you are. Turn back, you still can." Sidious answered with laughter. A wave of dark energy slammed into Yoda, hurling him into the far wall. His lightsaber flew from his grasp and clattered across the floor. The room fell still. Anakin stepped forward slowly, his expression empty, consumed by fear and resolve. "I won't let her die," he said. Yoda looked up at him, sorrow heavy in his eyes. "To save one life, you doom countless others." Anakin did not respond. His blade fell, and with it, the light of the Jedi faded. Sidious placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder, his voice smooth and approving. "You have done well, my apprentice. The Jedi's time has ended." That night, the Jedi Temple burned. Anakin marched beside Sidious as the 501st Legion and Coruscant Guard advanced up the temple steps. Blaster fire ripped through the air as Jedi rushed to defend their home. Anakin cut them down without hesitation. Masters, knights, even those who begged for mercy. The halls that once raised him echoed with screams. At the heart of the temple, the lost defenders stood ready. Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Aegon Kolar, Saesi Teen. "Skywalker," Windu said, igniting his blade. "Stand down. This doesn't have to end in bloodshed." Sidious answered first. Lightning erupted from his hands, tearing through Fisto and Saesi Teen in seconds. Aegon Kolar fell beneath Sidious's saber, leaving Windu alone. Anakin ignited his blade and charged. Windu fought with everything he had, his purple saber holding back Anakin's fury again and again. But this time he was not alone. Sidious struck from the shadows, slashing into Windu's leg and forcing him to stumble. Anakin seized the moment. His blade tore across Windu's chest, sending the Jedi Master crashing to the floor. Windu looked up at Anakin, pain and disbelief written across his face. "So this is how it ends," Windu said quietly. Anakin drove his lightsaber into Windu's chest. The Jedi Order was no more. Soon after, Sidious addressed the Senate, declaring the Jedi traitors who had attempted to overthrow the Republic. The chamber erupted in applause as the Republic was reborn as the Galactic Empire. And at Sidious's side stood his enforcer, Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker returned to Padme as a stranger. She felt it the moment he entered the apartment. The air itself seemed heavier, colder. His presence no longer brought comfort, only unease. When she asked what was happening across the city, Anakin spoke calmly, rehearsed. "The Jedi tried to overthrow the Republic," he said. "They're traitors. It's over now." Padme searched his eyes and found nothing she recognized. "That's not true," she said softly. "I know the Jedi. I know you." Anakin turned away, already preparing to leave. "I'm going to Mustafar. The Separatist leaders are there. When they're gone, the war ends, for good." Padme stepped in front of him. "Stay," she pleaded. "Please, don't go." "I've done all of this for you," Anakin said, frustration rising. "For our child. I'm building a galaxy where we don't have to hide." Tears streamed down Padme's face. "This isn't you anymore. You're becoming dangerous." As Anakin moved toward her, he felt it. The tension, the fear, the intent. Padme raised a blaster with shaking hands. "I can't follow you down this path," she said. Anakin reacted before she could pull the trigger. He twisted aside, wrenched the blaster from her grasp with the Force, and hurled it into the night sky. With a gesture, he put her into a deep sleep, catching her before she fell. "I'm doing this to protect you," he whispered. Hours later, the Separatist leaders lay dead on Mustafar. Across the galaxy, Palpatine completed his final deception. The Jedi were branded traitors. The Republic was reorganized into the Galactic Empire. Order replaced democracy. Fear replaced hope. Padme awoke days later, guarded, watched, never alone. She gave birth to twins. Anakin kept them close, obsessively protective, but the love between him and Padme withered. She feared him, he felt it, and it enraged him. Palpatine saw the weakness and acted. One night, while Padme and Anakin silently ate dinner, a poisoned drink, a quiet death. Padme died believing there was still good in Anakin Skywalker. Anakin was shattered, but the dark side offered no comfort, only chains. Palpatine stepped in as a guiding presence to the twins, a shadowed grandfather shaping the next generation of Sith, while sending Anakin across the galaxy on endless missions. The Skywalker children would become heirs to an empire born in blood, and under Sith rule, the galaxy fell into darkness, not with thunderous war, but with quiet obedience. The Jedi were gone, hope was extinguished, and the Force itself mourned. And that is where our story ends. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as comment down below what you thought of the story. Other than that, I'll see you in the next story. As always, may the Force be with you.